I like to know, I have to know. So I'm always reading, I'm always thinking, I'm always trying to understand how every aspect of the world works. And then God kind of messes with me because of it. He just messes with all of us because he doesn't put it, it's not obvious. Nothing is obvious. And he designed it this way on purpose. I don't know, like, it tantalizes me. That just annoys me because I want to know. I don't like the uncertainty. So I think that a lot of it has been, it's humbling because it's perseverance through doubt. It's the idea that you can and should follow even when you don't know. And it's just in the small ways that he redirects me and reminds me that he really has infiltrated every part of life. He is everywhere. To the atom, to the molecule, the detail of life is absolutely scary. And again, this is what always keeps me grounded and humbled to this being, unquestionably. And most importantly, when the Bible said, fear God, I think we don't understand this. We can't grasp it. But I think for me, it engages with me with science because I see the intricacy of what he's made. Like none of it should work when I'm looking at it. It looks like if you look at a cell, things are moving around and it makes, what is this? It looks like New York City, and then, but then when you start looking to the details and it's mind blowing. The genesis of our story is in Rwanda, and everybody knows this story because it really is some of the closest situations that the planet Earth experiences to practically hell on Earth. Because what happened is that, again, we don't need to get into the politics, but the end result was that 800,000 to 1,000,000 people, about on a lower estimate, died. And so, whereas maybe a lot of kids, your first memories are, I don't know, a birthday, for me, the first memories that are entrenched are this event. And I remember it quite vividly, of death and suffering and screams and panic. Again, it's just the idea of death and suffering on earth. This suffering is what pushes all of us to push back against God, to question whether there could be a good God. And it's a philosophical question, it's an emotional, it's a moral, it's a human question that we all have to ask. So for me, these are my earliest memories. For different people, it's different situations, conditions, sufferings that you've experienced that makes you question whether there is a God. And if you agree that there is a God, can this God be good and allow this? And I think that this is what I grappled with and continue to grapple with. And there's also, of course, a survivor's guilt. Why are you the one who survived, right? And beyond that, why are you the one who ends up in the United States? So there are many people across the world, refugees of war, that after you survive such an event, you are a little bit a shadow of yourself. And a lot of families that we know are broken. There is rampant alcoholism and sufferings in those communities that continues. But for us, I think that the faith, the grace of God, the love and the cohesion that we have allowed us to remain intact. Because I have these very clear memories, and for my sisters, they're even clearer. So to be still loving, to be still intact, that to me, it means that it's through God, and it's God working. So whereas for some people, the suffering kind of gets you to diverge and fall away from God, for us it did the opposite. And it made God even more real. And it made our love for other people even more real. And our love for life even more real because it's so fragile. For me, a time when it was clear. Again, it's you survive Rwanda, you think, okay, this is like, it's been insane. We're tired. And then some years later, we lose my father. I think I was like 9 years old. And I remember even just being 9 and really young at a tender age, and I really started questioning. I said, first, what is the point of life? Because again, until you're faced with something, you don't know how deep or how dark it can go. We all share is this fear of death. We know it's going to happen. But again, you kind of intellectualize, or you don't really, for most of us, it's not real till it's there. And I think one of the closest moments, even after Rwanda, that okay, I knew that death was real was when I lost my father, and he just lied in bed there, lifeless, and it just didn't make sense. Like why? Why are we piling suffering on suffering? We just survived Rwanda. Now, um, my father is lying there lifeless, with my mom, who is a widow now, and in a country where there are sparse resources, and where it's just economically difficult. So you've lost like a whole income, and then now she has to be both the mother and the father, raise the children, and also how are we going to survive in the most elemental way? So I'm only 9, but I'm thinking about all of this, and I'm thinking really where is God at this moment? And really, I remember actually having a completely sleepless night where I was grappling with this, because even just at 9, I needed to answer to myself that I still believe in this being, and that I still believe in his goodness, even though I don't understand. It took all night long. I remember that night, but in the end, again, God is faithful, and I guess my mind came up with a conclusion that okay, I will remain Christian and continue the walk. But that's what happened. It was a moment when I really felt the absence of God, because everything came crashing down. Again, God has tender ways of working, because the night after my father died, what happened is that I had a very vivid dream where we had dinner together. So we went to a picnic at this beautiful place, and we ate and we laughed. We had the whole conversation. And then he said, okay, now, son, now I have to go. And I said, oh, where are you going? And he said, I have to go now. But I just wanted to say goodbye. So these are the small things and it was so comforting to have this dream. And again, many scientific people can say, it's just your mind doing it. Even if it is my mind and it's orchestrated by God, this was a beautiful way for God to let me know, even after something tragic like this, that he's still around. My third year of medical school wasn't so good. It just wasn't good. So I came out of it feeling very sad and kind of pretty much depressed, and then being like, okay, why is this happening? But that had to happen, because then I took some time off and went to do some science, and I was so excited about it. And then Kelly just called me and she says, hey, have you thought about combining both things? And have you thought about becoming a scientist? And it became very obvious. So I would say that this was a moment that God completely, I can't go too much into the details because the whole thing is intricate, but it was completely set by him, and I knew it because the moment that I went to the school and said, hey, I want to also become a scientist, all the doors aligned completely. And people were like, we've been waiting for this. It was very strange. It happened in 2 months. Everything was set, and I was doing both things, so it was very clear. I basically met a scientific genius, and he became like a mentor and helped me. And then again, this became the purpose, but it was not a plan. You can't understand God, and because of that truth, you either have to reject him or you have to subjugate yourself to him, because you have to throw away your reasoning because it doesn't work anymore. In my mind, those are the two decisions you have. It's the dichotomy. Either you just reject God, so you continue to function because you can't understand him, or you say, my logic has hit a limit, I'm not smart enough, I'm not deep enough, I'm not God, basically, so I have to put myself beneath him, and I have to throw away my logic. So I don't want to suffer, but I can feel his love most when I'm at my worst, when I'm in the dark, because my heart is ready to listen. I'm in a humble place. I'm not sitting on the throne of my own life. I think I don't fall apart because he's what keeps you together, and he's just there.